Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands was written in 1966 as part of the masterful album Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan. I want to hone in on what this 11-minute song really means, how it was created, and take a moment to appreciate how beautiful it is. Recorded in early 1966 as part of the Nashville sessions with Robbie Robertson on guitar and Al Kooper on keyboard, and Dylan, of course, on guitar, vocals, and harmonica. It was made on February 16th between 4 a.m. and 5:30 a.m., and contrary to popular belief, which says this song was recorded in one take, it was actually recorded in four. Chris Christopherson, who was at the time a guard at the Nashville studio, said, quote, "I saw Dylan sitting out in the studio and at the piano, writing all night long by himself, dark glasses on. All the musicians played cards while he was out there writing." It was about 4 a.m. when Dylan was finally ready, but this wasn't the case for all the other musicians, some of them like Charlie McCoy saying, quote, "After you've tried to stay awake till 4 o'clock in the morning, to play something so slow and long was really tough." Before the recording, Dylan called the musicians together and outlined the structure of the song. There's a quote by another one of the musicians, Kenneth Buttery, that goes like, "If you notice the record, that thing, like after the second chorus starts building and building like crazy, and everyone's just peaking it up because we thought, man, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the last chorus, and we've got to put everything into it that we can." And then he played another harmonica solo, went back into another verse, and the dynamics had to drop back down to a verse kind of feel. After about 10 minutes of this thing, we're cracking up at each other for what we're doing. I mean, we peaked 5 minutes ago. Where do we go from here? It's actually an excellent example of the great collaboration between all these musicians who in actuality had only just begun start playing together. He didn't tell them much about the song, he just had them play. Dylan provides drawing, almost hypnotic vocal singing, full of dreamlike attitude and chock full of thoughtful imagery. I mean, it literally occupies the entire fourth side of the double album on vinyl. He had created long songs before, like Desolation Row and Highway 61 Revisited, but that was a much more of mixed together jumble of illusions to paint a story than a song about one particular person, which this seems to be. George Harrison said that the chord changes on the song influenced one of his songs on the 1968 White Album for the Beatles. Roger Waters of Pink Floyd said he was, quote, artistically transformed after listening to Dylan here. He said, "When I heard that, I thought if Bob can do such a lengthy song, I can do it. It's a whole album, and it gets in no way boring or dull because it becomes more and more hypnotic the longer it goes on." Bob Dylan has never played Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands in concert. The only time known that Dylan sang the song again was at a Denver hotel room and was recorded by Robert Shelton. After recording in the studio what Dylan claimed to be the best song he's ever written, he essentially never played it again for the most part. This only amplifies its mysteriousness and haunting timelessness as one of music's great epiphanies, a masterful work, a classic gem, a monumental treasure to which, from my interpretation, is the best ever created artistic representation of how truly beautiful a woman is. Only it's conveyed into the most saddest, most profound declaration of love that someone could ever produce. Critics generally agree that Dylan wrote Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands about his wife, Sarah, and some have remarked the similarity of Lowlands to Loons, his then-wife Sarah's maiden name. He married her in a private civil ceremony 3 months before writing the song, and some have concluded it a wedding song. Joan Baez believed or rather hoped that the song was written for her because she had performed a song named Lowlands since 1959. However, most people agree it was written for his wife. And Sarah, a song Dylan wrote and recorded in 1975 as part of Desire, he gave another account of the origin of the song, saying, "Staying up for days in the Chelsea Hotel, writing Sad Lady of the Lowlands for you," essentially confirming it was written for Sarah Dylan. Dylan says, "It started out as this little thing, but I got carried away somewhere along the line, and at the session itself, I just started writing and I couldn't stop. After a period of time, I forgot what it was all about. I started trying to get back to the beginning." That's not what Dylan says, and I would take with a grain of salt if I'm being honest, because he's Dylan and never gives us what truly is what's supposed to be interpreted, which is largely up to the listener, in my opinion. There's always more than meets the eye, or I'll say ear in this case. According to Wikipedia, the critic Ian Bell contends that people who say that Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands is a mere jumble of images miss a poet attempting, in the ancient manner, to count the ways of love and to put the mystery of inviolability and passion into words. Heard by some listeners as a hymn to an otherworldly kind of woman, others believe this is Dylan at his most romantic. He spends most of Blonde on Blonde talking about the trials and tribulations of love, about failures in relationships, about betrayal and deceit, about wanting someone and having someone, how difficult it can be, and about their love and how complex and hurtful it can be, conveyed through fresh lenses of a remarkable poet. But in the end, he submits his final resolution, an exquisite declaration of love to someone whom he holds dearly. "With your mercury mouth in the missionary times, and your eyes like smoke, and your prayers like rhymes, Mercury mouth could mean a mouth that is unpredictable or changing. Eyes like smoke, the sensuality of these lyrics are perfect. It expresses beauty through both grandeur and lust. The passion is supposed undeal inside as he is captivated, enchanted, mesmerized, and transformed by this woman. And your silver cross and your voice like chimes, oh, who among them do they think could bury you? The silver cross implies that this woman is faithful not just to God, but to the relationship she has with the narrator. Sarah Dillon was also one to wear such necklaces with crosses in several photographs. Her voice like chimes shows that despite her nicety, she is dangerously alluring yet has her own life and will do as she pleases.
With your pockets well protected at last, and your street car visions which you place on the grass.
Dillon strains to reach the notes in a way that makes delivery blurring and haunting. Her pockets are well protected at last, meaning she is secure in a relationship with the narrator in a longing sort of way that is sad and somber as he speaks of streetcar visions or taking us away to some foreign place, a mystical leap of faith that can only hope to encapsulate the elegance of such a soul. And your flesh like silk and your face like glass, who among them do they think could carry you? Her face is beautiful and soft, and her face is petrifyingly refined like a ghost, in a sort of ethereal way that chills you to the bone. According to musician Tom Waits, the song can make you leave home, work on a railroad, or marry a gypsy. I think of a drifter around a fire with a tin cup under a bridge remembering a woman's hair. The song is a dream, a riddle, and a prayer.
Sad-eyed lady of the lowlands, where the sad-eyed prophet says that no man comes. My warehouse has my Arabian drums. Should I put them by your gate? Oh, sad-eyed lady, should I wait?
Warehouse eyes imply watchful, organized love. His eyes are seriously in love, yet the Arabian drums, that exotic, otherworldly image, throws this off, him not being able to come up with terms with his personal flaws, making up peculiar imagery to persuade the attention of the woman. What does he do with his overbearing love he feels? Leave them by her gate, by her doorstep, should he wait, prolonging the inevitable exchange of passionate and delicate care? With your sheets like metal and your belt like lace, and your deck of cards missing the jack and the ace. Many critics have pointed out the logical fact that Sarah Dillon's father was a scrap metal dealer in Delaware, explaining the metal and the lace. Her deck of cards missing important pieces insinuates that the woman is not perfect either, but he doesn't care. He loves her every aspect of her, even her imperfections. In your basement clothes and your hollow face, who among them can think he could outguess you?
With your silhouette, when the sunlight dims into your eyes, where the moonlight swims, and your matchbook songs and your gypsy hymns, who among them would try to impress you?
Who could outguess her? She's smart and intelligent just as some people misjudge her. Her hollow face implying she is so mythical to the narrator that enchantingly she seems not even to be real. Her silhouette is beautiful as the sunlight dims, moonlight swims in her eyes. Who could ever try to impress her as when she knows all? Sad lady of the lowlands, where the sad-eyed prophet says that no man comes, my warehouse eyes, my Arabian drums, shall I leave them by your gate, or sad lady, should I wait? Once more, should he give the love or should he wait, unsure if she will return it? The very act of love is something that is so complex and difficult to understand, yet it is elegantly simple in its natural feeling, something he has to embrace. The kings of Tyrus with a convict list, are they waiting in line for their geranium kiss? And wouldn't you know what would happen like this, but who among them really just wants to kiss you? Tyrus, an ancient biblical city in Lebanon, holds the ground for kings who wait in line for a kiss, as if it's something that's obsessively persistent and alluring. The out-of-the-world symbolism represents what he would do anything for her love, even if it meant going to the ends of the earth and back. It's possibly borrowing biblical language as a reference to a lady's undeserving suitors, or perhaps to fit the tone of the song, simply that she is someone heavenly to begin with. The convict list may be Jeremiah's list of the sinners who will face God's wrath. In your childhood flames on your midnight rug, in your Spanish manners and your mother's drugs, in your cowboy mouth and your curfew pugs, who among them do you think could resist you? Childhood flames mark streets of innocence in this woman's soul, and her mother's drugs referencing Sarah's mother, Bessie Novinsky, who ran a dry goods store. Who among them, the mob of possible suitors, could possibly ever resist her charm? Then another chorus. Oh, the farmers and the businessmen, they all did decide to show you the dead angels that they used to hide. But why did they pick you to sympathize with their side? Or how could they ever mistake you? Why did they pick her to show the dead angels that they used to hide? She's the chosen one to the narrator, a stunning soul that could not be mistaken, not even by all the men in the world. All the farmers and businessmen chose to show her the truth, the biblical, ginormous, important truth, which is that the narrator loves her, and this is the poetic expression in action.
They wished you'd accepted the blame for the farm, but with the sea at your feet and the phony false alarm, and with the child of the hoodlum wrapped up in your arms, how could they ever have persuaded you?
She's blameless. Even if you call her out, she's be forgiven by the narrator for all the wrong she could ever possibly do. The sea is at her feet like some sort of old folk tale, as if the weight of the world is upon this one interaction. She's graceful and dignified. There's a child of the hoodlum wrapped up in their arms, meaning Jesse Dillon, their first child born together in January 1966. It expresses the beauty of such a child and how such a now mother, standing at the sea with his child and of his own creation, wrapped up in her arms, so much so that there's no way anyone could ever persuade her otherwise that life is not worth living. Creation is amazing, creation is pure, and it speaks volumes to Dylan's romantic-esque ability to capture a moment in time as if frozen. Another chorus happens. With your sheet metal memory of Cannery Row and your magazine husband who just one day just had to go. Cannery Row is a canning factory linked to Sarah's father in the metal business, and the magazine husband refers to Sarah Dillon's first husband, the magazine photographer Hans Lowndes.
And your gentleness now, which you just can't help but show. Who among them do you think would employ you? Now you stand with your thief, you're on his parole, with your holy medallion in your fingertips now that fold, and your saint-like face, and your ghost-like soul. Who among them could ever think he could destroy you?
Saint-like face, she is one of ultimate and utter beauty. Her soul is ghost-like with electricity sparking life into Dylan. He uses complex imagery involving a thief that she is on the prowl of to illustrate the intricacy of everyday life and how she manages it all too well while being gentle, which you can't just help but show. Of all the men and people in the world, he has chosen her. Who among them would employ her, destroy her? She's eternally his, and with his marital bond sealed, he cements this with his declaration of love. And finally, the final chorus, sad-eyed lady of the lowlands, where the sad-eyed prophet says that no man comes. My warehouse eyes, my Arabian drums, should I leave them by your gate, or sad lady, should I wait? Despite lots of evidence pointing towards Sarah Dillon being the subject of the song, many still believe it is not possible to be sure about who Dillon refers to in the song. Critic Andy Gill remarks that even though the song contains a lot of enigmatic imagery, it, quote, lacks the jokey nihilism that characterizes much of the rest of Blonde on Blonde. In other words, he could have been messing around on the rest of the album with what he truly means, and this is the only down-to-earth, serious piece. Dylan scholar Michael Gray said, quote, the recording itself capturing at its absolute peak Dylan's incomparable capacity for intensity of communication is a masterpiece if there ever was one. The song itself is deeply emotional and hauntingly sad, expressing how much the narrator loves this person, but how sad and hollow it makes him feel, perhaps at the stark reality that there is no guarantee that love will be returned or that everything will have a happy ending in the end. I personally find it so sad and so emotionally compelling on such a resonant level that it nearly breaks my heart every time I hear it. It's ghost-like and saint-like, like the woman he describes. It's epic about how beautiful a woman or even a person is in the most poetic, artistic, magnificent, and grandiose way that you could ever describe or present. Maybe the lyrics aren't supposed to be deciphered, and we're just supposed to appreciate the piece for what it is on an emotional level. Dylan sings the song not as a professional singer, but as you and me are, an everyday conversational sort of way that makes it more relatable as his voice drones onto the music with an almost unearthly beauty. Satellite of the Lowlands, the end to a double album, clocks in at 11 minutes and 23 seconds, breaking the regular standard for how long a song could and should be. Some might say it's acquired taste, but I know in my heart that this song resonates with some deep part of me that longs for connection, longs for love, and in a way that's the most human part of it all. What do you think of this song? What do its words mean, and how does it resonate with you? Comment below and let me know. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it, and make sure to subscribe. See you later.